Hi, I'm Blake with Fendt. Today, we're going to go ahead and do a walk around the Fendt 300 sitting here behind us. The Fendt 300 series is going to have a horsepower range of 100 up to 152 max horsepower with DP, and there's going to be 4 models in that series. It's going to start with a 311, and then the top one is going to be a 314. That top 314 is actually going to have dynamic performance, which can be identified by the red letters on the hood. The 1 and the 4 are red. The other ones are not going to have red numbering, indicating they do not have that additional power with dynamic performance. Now, as far as the weight range and the unladen weight, the empty weight is going to be around 10,700 pounds, and the max permissible is going to be around 18,700 pounds for this series. If we look under the hood, this is going to feature a 4.4 liter engine that's going to have our Fendt ID that we know and love. Fendt ID is our low engine speed concept. So that's going to be our high torque, but low engine RPM. That's going to give that operator in the cab a great experience. When you run a Fendt for the first time, you get to experience that. That engine is not running at high RPMs all day long, and it can bring those RPMs down to a much more manageable level. It's going to reduce fuel consumption, it's going to reduce that noise in the cab for the operator, and it's also going to increase that engine longevity by making less revolutions over time. Now, as we step on back, we just talked about the engine a little bit. Let's talk about the transmission. So inside this transmission is going to be a Fendt CVT. As with all of our Fendt tractors, they all have Fendt CVTs in them. The transmission in this tractor is going to take you from 65 feet per hour up to 25 miles per hour. There's going to be no ranges or gears or anything like that that the operator is going to have to do to shift. It's going to be you set your speed anywhere within that range, and the tractor will set the engine and transmission ratios accordingly to match that. When we look at the cab, you're going to have several options to choose from as far as suspension goes. You could have a cab that's going to have no suspension, which would be your in-base option. If you want to step up to a 2-point mechanical, where you're going to have mechanical stabilizers in the rear, you could do that, or you could step up to that 2-point pneumatic suspension, where you're going to have pneumatic suspension on the rear of that cab. Now, as far as line variations go on the 300 series, we offer a Power, a Profi, and a Profi Plus. The tractor here we have today is going to be a Profi Plus. If you're ever looking at a machine and you're trying to figure out what spec level is it, look right here on this left-hand door and look for this badging. That's going to give you a really good idea as far as how that tractor is equipped. So when you look at a power tractor, if you have a tractor that you don't have any need for scales, you don't need guidance, and you don't need ISO bus, a power tractor may be a great fit for you. If you want to start adding ISO bus, or if you want to add some more terminals in the cab, stuff like that, then maybe step up to a Profi machine. If you want a tractor that you're going to put guidance on either now or in the future, and you want it fully integrated from the factory, you want a Profi Plus machine. Those Profi Plus machines are going to come with that steering valve fully integrated. It's all integrated within Fendt Guide, perfectly seamless. You just choose which receiver you want from the factory. Something really unique about the Fendt tractors that I really like personally myself is going to be that just because you choose a different line variation, whether it be a Power, a Profi, or a Profi Plus, that tractor itself is still going to have that great heavy-duty engine. You're still going to have the good Fendt CVT, right? So the rest of the components are not going lower spec. It's just how much technology do you need, whether you're going a Power, Profi, or a Profi Plus. Let's go ahead and move around to the back of the machine, and we'll take a look at the hydraulics. Now, as we step over to the back of the machine, I do want to apologize. Normally, I try and keep a clean tractor for you. Today, this tractor was on a round baler less than an hour ago, so it is what it is. It's a real working tractor, came from the field. So when we're looking at the back, we can have up to 4 rear remotes like this one has here, yellow, blue, green, red, right, with another one, and then we can also have 1 additional front valve. As far as hydraulic flow, is going to be a 29 gallon a minute closed center pump. So if you needed to run a smaller planter or something like that with continuous flow, you could do that without any issues. As far as the 3-point goes on the 300 series, this is going to be a category 2/3, and it's going to be our hook-in style. That hook-in style, remember, is going to have that built-in quick hitch. So you don't have to be reaching through a quick hitch whenever you're trying to get to something on the back of that machine. It's already built in to these 3-point links. As far as the PTO goes, the PTO in the 300 series is going to be a 540, a 540E, and 1,000 RPM, and that's going to be in base. So the difference between 540 and 540E is going to be at what engine RPM is that PTO spinning 540. For instance, In normal 540, say if that engine is running 1800 RPM, in 540E, maybe it's down to 1300 RPM. Now those are just sample RPMs, that's not what it is in this machine specifically, but that gives you an idea of how economy works. So if you're running lighter load implements, you can use economy and you can save fuel and reduce that engine RPM. Now one thing I'm going to point out while we've got you here, this is not something I normally point out, but I want to point it out anyway because it really goes and shows the depth and the level of care that Fendt goes to on every single tractor. If you go ahead and take a look at this 540 shaft, if you look at these splines, yeah, go ahead and get right in there. Yep, if you look at these splines, you'll notice that they are beveled. What does that beveling on that spline do? If you've ever hooked up PTO implements throughout your life at any point in time, how many times have we sat there and kind of fought those? Fendt on their 540 shaft even bevels those splines so that when you go to hook that up, that PTO rotates and slips right on every single time. It's the little details that really set those Fendt tractors apart, and that's something I'm really excited about. A couple other things I want to point out on the back. You can get a Power Beyond system, so if you needed to run a planter or something like that as well, you do have Power Beyond capabilities, and then you can get pneumatic trailer brakes. So this has the glad hands on it. If you wanted to pull a trailer or something with air brakes, you could do that. Additionally, on the 300 series, really handy for blowing off a round baler or something like that. If you need to air up a tire in the field, hook up an air chuck to it and away you go. Let's take a look at the fender controls. We do have fender controls on this one. This is going to be for the 3-point raise and lower. So if you're back here, you need to raise and lower, you can hit those buttons, raise or lower that 3-point without getting in and out of the cab. The next one over is going to be for your PTO. Now, something unique about the Fendt tractors is we can actually start and stop the PTO from the fender. We don't have to be getting into the cab all the time. And to take that one step further with TMS, if you set the RPM in the cab before you get out that first time, when you engage that PTO, it's going to engage and rev up to that PTO speed that you set. When you're done, hit the button and it'll rev down and disengage. So if you're running an auger or a feed mixer, something like that, and you don't want to get in the cab, and you just want to hit the button, have it engage and rev up, it'll go ahead and do that for you. And then lastly is going to be our hydraulic controls. We're starting to see more and more hydraulic jacks, and maybe you're running a auger that's got a hydraulic leg on it that swings in and out. This is a great function for that without having to get in and out of the cab. When you are in the cab, you can set which valve you want it to control, and then hit the buttons, and it'll go ahead and move that valve just like you've got it set. One additional thing I'd like to touch on is the lighting package, the work light package on these tractors. They're going to come in either a full halogen or a full LED system. Let's go ahead and go back to the front and we'll take a look at the front 3-point. Now as we're back over to the front of the machine, this tractor is equipped with the one front valve that we mentioned could be possible, and it also is equipped with a front PTO and a front 3-point. Now the front PTO on these, if you get that, is going to be a 1000 RPM shaft. And then the 3-point, you're going to have 3 different levels of this front 3-point. If you need a 3-point that's just going to move up and down, we're going to have that option for you. If you want to add position control and double acting, then you can take that next step up and you'll have a double acting. What that means is normal 3-points, they only pressure up and then they gravity feed down. On the Fendt, you have the option to have double acting, which means we can actually pressure up and we can also put some down pressure on those implements too. Now if we go up to that highest level of 3-point that we have, that is going to be our comfort front 3-point. It's going to be a double acting 3-point, meaning we can pressure up and apply pressure down, and it'll also have relief control built into it. That relief control, if you're running a front mower or a snow blower, something like that, is going to allow that implement to contour over the ground, and it's not going to be digging in and you're not putting that full weight on that implement. Really going to follow the ground nice with those. While we're at the front of the machine, one other thing I want to touch on is our front axle suspension. The front axle suspension is a hydraulic axle suspension. That suspension is going to give you a nice smooth ride both in the field and on the road. The tractor that we have here today is equipped with a loader. If you get in a situation where you're trying to do some real fine grading work, maybe you're trying to level some gravel out, maybe you're trying to do something in a barn, and you get in those situations and we want to lock that front axle suspension down, you can actually do that right from the terminal. Lower it all the way down, lock it. When you're doing all that low speed maneuvering, it'll lock that down for you. When you go to pull back on the road or go run at a higher speed again, it'll go back to its middle of the travel. As far as the loaders go on these tractors, a couple different variations. If you look at the side, it says Profi on the side of this loader. There's going to be two variations. You're going to have cargo loaders for these, and you're going to have Profi loaders. If you see a Profi loader, that's going to tell you that that loader has the built-in scales or weighing function. So what that means is if you're loading bales out of the field onto a truck, you're going to know how much weight you're putting on that truck or how many tons you're taking out of that field and sending to your hay barn. Additionally, it's going to include some memorization functions. So if you want to go and scoop into a silage pile, or if you want to level some gravel out, you can set presets. Maybe you want that bucket flat on the ground. Maybe you want that bucket up at a truck height, right? You set those presets and it will move that to those set positions each and every time. Really, really is handy, especially on repetitive tasks that you're trying to do fine control with. And one other thing that that'll let you do is if you're moving stuff in a barn, there's times where in a perfect world, we'd all have really high barns, right? We all have that barn that's just a little bit shorter than we'd like. When we get in those situations with the Profi loader, we can set a max height that we want that loader to lift up to, and it'll add as another layer of help to keep us from hitting those rafters in those buildings that are a little bit shorter. And the last thing I want to touch on today is going to be our Gold Star customer care program. Every Fendt tractor sold in North America is going to come with our Gold Star customer care. That's going to include all your routine and scheduled maintenance for these tractors for 3 years or 3,000 hours, and that's included with the machine. Additionally, there's going to be a 48-hour loaner guarantee. What that means is if that machine goes down for more than 48 hours, you're guaranteed a loaner. Gold Star allows you to fix your cost over a certain amount of time with that machine so you know exactly what it's going to cost you and you can budget. Thank you for taking the time to walk around the Fendt 300 series with me today. I hope you learned something. If you've got any more questions, feel free to visit your local dealer, or you can find us at Fendt.com. If you're not sure who your local dealer is, we do have a dealer locator on the website that you can use. Just type in your zip code. Thank you for taking the time to walk around the Fendt 300 series with me today. I hope you learned something new. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to your local dealer, or you can find us at Fendt.com. If you're not sure who your local dealer is, we do have a dealer locator on the website. Just type in your zip code and it'll show you who your local dealer is. Thank you again, and we really look forward to the opportunity to be able to help you and your operation. We'll see you next time.